Western Sydney Wanderers hosting Sydney Olympic round 22 NPL New South Wales men's action. Cool. and welcome to Wanderers Football Park. It is the Western Sydney Wanderers playing host to Sydney Olympic here at the home of the Western Sydney Wanderers on the M7 here in Broody Hill. It is round 22 action of the NPL New South Wales men's competition. Sydney Olympic currently sitting in 16th place, while the Western Sydney Wanderers on 26 points sit in 9th and are within striking distance of finals, although without win in their last 4. Their last win was the 6-0 derby thrashing of their rival Sydney FC. Yeah, sure. Welcome to round 22 action of the NPL New South Wales men's competition here at Wanderers Football Park, the home of the Western Sydney Wanderers, as the hosts do battle with 16th place Sydney Olympic. Sydney Olympic coming off a big win last week against St George FC in the relegation scrap. Meanwhile, the Western Sydney Wanderers without win. Cool. Hello and welcome to round 22 of the NPL Men's New South Wales competition out here in Western Sydney, Rooty Hill, at the home of the Western Sydney Wanderers. And it is the host, the 9th place Wanderers, doing battle with the 16th place Sydney Olympic in what is set to be a tantalising matchup. Both sides desperate for a win. Sydney Olympic coming off a win. Western Sydney without win in their last 4. Sydney Olympic, a revitalised side after the mid-season transfer window, adding a few new faces that seem to do the trick and getting a few good results on the board. And you'd expect, with the new faces continuing to gel with the existing squad members from the start of the season, more good performances to come from them, whereas the Western Sydney Wanderers, they remain relatively unchanged from their last couple of weeks. And the youthful Wanderers look to continue to make their finals push as Sydney Olympic continue to fight for their lives in this competition in 2026. Thank you for joining us on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. I'm Dom Cronady, and it is a beautiful afternoon out here in an even more beautiful part of Western Sydney. Weather has been cracking all day. The sun is out, and we are expecting a beautiful game of football. It's been a bit of a rarity around Sydney these last couple of weeks. Some nice, clean weather, and it'll be interesting to see if that'll impact both teams with coming off a couple of weekends of wet weather conditions, and especially Sydney Olympics' last game. But we'll get to the starting lineups. And the Western Sydney Wanderers, the hosts. Their lineup is as follows at the back: number 4, Ricky Franson; number 5, Jesse Cameron; number 6, Oscar Morrison; number 7, Alat Abdul Rahman; number 9, A1 Luau; number 12, Lucas Sinot; number 16, Tristan Arate; number 25, Marko Radovancevic; number 27, Lachlan Satut; number 30, Anderson Back; and number 31, Emil Katrib, rounds out the starting lineup for the host Western Sydney Wanderers. So kickoff momentarily underway as we'll get to the bench for the Western Sydney Wanderers, and a few new faces, or one new pretty big face in the Sydney Olympic lineup, that being between the net, as Olympic get things started underway, and they're looking to put the Wanderers under pressure straight away, kicking the ball straight out and into a very high press, as the throw taken long and high, and possession battling around a bit in the middle, and the Wanderers take early control here. So Luau, proven himself as one of the competition's elite goal scorers this season. So on the Western Sydney bench, number 8, Corey De Cruz; number 18, Thomas Sutuk; number 19, Ewan Gasowski; number 23, Oscar Moore; number 26, Bradley Marzal; number 28, Giorgio Hazarati; and number 80, Samuel Goldberg, is the match day squad for the Wanderers. Meanwhile, Sydney Olympic, the big addition for them in between the sticks is number 20, Philip Curto, the man with lots of A-Leagues experience, making his debut for Sydney Olympic here. And a huge coup for the men in blue, as an early chance for the Wanderers. As the cross just skiddling across this dry surface here on the main grass pitch at Wanderers Football Park. So the starting lineup for Sydney Olympic is as follows: number 4, Josh Hong; number 5, Ziggy Gordon in the right back role today; number 6, one of the new signings, Jock Aikion; number 7, Seth Clark; number 8, Khan Nizam; number 10, Panos Armanakas; number 12, Zach Sorosic; number 16, Bailey Callahan up top; and as mentioned, number 20, Philip Curto here with his first touch of the ball; number 21, Adam Bugadia; and number 23, Sebastian Kakucha on the right wing, rounds out the starting lineup. And on the bench for Michael Melito, it is number 14, Jacob Trezaglavic; number 19, Anton Isako; number 24, Faraz Rahimi; number 34, Marcus Fernandez; number 35, Peter Grossos; the backup keeper, number 40, Anthony Carreras; and number 58, Daniel Wong, returns to the bench. Missed a good little stint of the season there in the middle, and is back, and that is a big relief for Sydney Olympic, as Wanderers regaining possession here, and they've held an early grip of this game in the opening 2 minutes, which is a bit, probably not what both sides expected, to be honest. Wanderers do hold the ball a lot more than Sydney Olympic, but in recent weeks, given form and players coming in and out of the lineup, especially for Sydney Olympic. Probably a bit of unfamiliar territory for Olympic. Now down the right side, here's Katrib. He's tripped up a little bit, wanted the foul, but not too much in that. It's the big man down the back, Ricky Franson, tried to go straight through down the middle to find Ewan Luau. But Jock Akuan had that one covered relatively easily. So Philip Curto, a massive, massive signing for this competition, and joins a list of former A-Leagues players playing in the competition as recently as last season to join the NPL Men's New South Wales competition. Of course, a bit more filtering through. Bankstown City signing a few with Josh Brillante and Tommy Oscock. It's now Sydney Olympics' first chance to attack, and pockets picked pretty good there by Katrib. Nothing doing there for the Wanderers. Also had Alu Kuol signing for Blacktown City. So plenty of big names, and obviously Australian Championship having a bit to do with that, especially with Sydney Olympics. Speaking to Michael Melito pre-game, he signed Curto to be their goalkeeper in that competition, and experience when it comes down to the pointy end of this season, especially for Sydney Olympic, could be the difference maker, although they have had some pretty good service between the sticks between Carreras and Josip Orlovic, who've played for the most part as the goalkeeper. But when an opportunity to sign someone as experienced as Curto comes up, it is pretty hard to turn down. He was courted by quite a few sides, and Sydney Olympic winning the race for his signature. So Zach Zoricic to take this throw, one of the many new signings to feature in this lineup, including Amanakos, Akuan, Curto, and Seth Clark, as Alan Luau tried to get ahead to it, but cleared away, and it's going to be a first corner of the game for the Wanderers. I've got to say, this sun is just absolutely beaming down right in our position here on the gantry. Let's hope it doesn't have an effect on the play here, as the short cross of the front stick is dealt with pretty easily, but the follow-up header was begging for someone to get on the end of it. It was Jesse Cameron who was closest to it, and just a step behind it as the cut-in ball there from Satut. Not his best delivery. Danger's not over, however. For both sides, it should be said. Flipping the script, it's Bugadia. Out wide, Kakucha tried to play it in the middle to Callahan. And it's a good interception there by Ricky Franson. It's been a staple of this Wanderers NPL side for a couple of years, alongside Jesse Cameron and Oscar Morrison. Obviously, many have gone on to bigger and better things around the country and internationally for that matter. It's a throw for Sydney Olympic here. And after Western Sydney dominated the opening couple of chances, it's been a relatively even start after that. Out the back now, Seth Clark. To the skipper, Josh Hong. Clark again. Kewen. And this is beautiful play. How's the one-touch football there from Sydney Olympic? And a good ball out wide from Armanakis. Headed away by Cameron. And try to settle it with a soft pass there, Kewen, and it's almost given the foul away. Through on goal is Luau, but just misread the line there. Try to go across Ziggy Gordon, but the veteran defender had that one guided straight through to Curto. And Sydney Olympic thus far have dealt with the pressure well, but as per the commentator's curse strikes. Luau lays it off to Abdul Rahman. It's deflected by a couple of Olympic bodies as Kewen outstretched foot to stop the danger there. Abdul Rahman winning it back now. Here he is again, that man, the number 7. Hong Goes long, Callahan. Good chest to keep possession and a good touch there. Bulgaria. Nice ball out wide to find Zorosic. And that's a good first-time effort there from Khan Nizam. And the first real opportunity of the game goes the way of Sydney Olympic. But nothing really doing there. Not having to make the defence move, but a good effort in the end. Goal kick taken quickly and brought up now by Ricky Franson. And Sydney Olympic not too interested in putting any sort of pressure on him. Happy to let them come at them in this 4-4-2 formation defensively, with the wingers kind of alternating sides depending on where the ball is going. Obviously a bit more of a 4-3-3 with a triangle midfield with Armanakis leading the charge in the 10 shirt. And of course Bailey Callahan leading the line with Khan Nizam and Sebastian Kakucha either side of him. Seth Clark and Adam Bulgaria in the centre of the park as the midfield pivot as well there, with Seth Clark joining the action as well. Frantic back pass there, almost snuck out there by Armanakis. Now a chance out wide. Abdul Rahman went direct to Satut. A chance for Olympic to go the other way. And that is a really solid run there by Kakucha, but stopped in the end, and a chance for the Wanderers now. Morrison. Katrib. Luau. It's a handful for any defender to keep up with, Owen Luau. Back to the skipper, Oscar Morrison. Thought about going for it first time. But goes out wide to Katrib. Good ball across. Abdul Rahman! Western Sydney opened the scoring on the 10-minute mark. Katrib's ball perfectly picking out Alad Abdul Rahman. And Western Sydney are on the board early. 1-0 Wanderers. What a start for Western Sydney. It's been a relatively even start to the game, but Western Sydney just proving the clinicalness they can show. Sydney Olympic will have to respond now. Abdurrahman, his 5th goal for the season. And a beautiful finish that was, sliding in to get to that one. And what looks to be the first assist for Emil Katrib in the 2026 season. It was some ball, and he's been heavily involved in the attack down that right side. And the perfect start for the Wanderers. Can't get complacent here because Sydney Olympic have come from behind this season. Almost thriving in that underdog position as of late. Here's Nizam. Edge of the box, Bugadia. Good ball. Kakucha almost got to it, but goal scorer Abdul Rahman trying to get things started. Ziggy Gordon, the wily veteran, gets that one out for a throw and resets the attack. So a big day of action in the NPL Men's New South Wales competition for round 22, especially on this Super Saturday. We've got a simultaneous game happening with UNSW playing Sydney FC, and there was an early goal in that game as well. UNSW holding a 1-0 lead. And obviously later today we have Manly United playing host to the SD Raiders, and Sutherland Sharks taking on RPL Leichhardt in a potential finals preview. Huge game, that one, and could mean a lot considering that Wanderers now, if they were to get the 3 points in on 29, and would leapfrog into 8th and would be within striking distance of Sutherland if they couldn't get more than a draw, which is just massive for the Wanderers, but also showing how tight this competition is. If Western Sydney stayed as is with 26 points, they'd only be 8 points clear of 15th place Blacktown City. And you know, it sounds a lot, but Western Sydney without win in their last 4, and obviously they've shown what they can do in attack, this just rampant young attack. They went on an absolute goal-scoring flurry during the month of May with a 6-0 win over Sydney FC, and back-to-back weeks they beat Rockdale Linden 5-0 on Rockdale's old boy days. So 11 goals in 2 weeks back-to-back without a goal conceded, and Western Sydney really sent a message to the rest of the competition there, but went on a bit of a skid after that, a 2-0 loss to Sydney United, followed by a 1-1 draw with St George, and then a 3-0 loss to the Sutherland Sharks, followed up by last week's 3-3 draw with Manly United. It's just a bit of inconsistency for the Western Sydney Wanderers. Meanwhile, Sydney Olympic coming off a strong 2-1 win over St George FC last week, which is what they call a relegation 6-pointer, with St George FC floating around that relegation zone as well, as Abdul Rahman tried to find his man at the edge of the box, but cleared away by Armanakis. Now Callahan doesn't have much support, has to go back. McEwen, and that is a very strong challenge. And the free kick taken even quickly. Armanakis now. Great ball through. Kakucha gets onto it first. Sebastian Kakucha! Sydney Olympic fire back within 4 minutes. And it is 1-1 here at Wanderers Football Park. What a play, and all from a free kick taken quickly. And that is a beautiful finish as well from Kakucha. So 1-1 here, 15 minutes gone, and we could be in for a very high-scoring match. So back underway now, Western Sydney with the ball. So it's been a pretty even last couple of matches between both these sides. Obviously, Western Sydney getting the goods last time these two sides play. It was a 4-0 win with Alan Luell bagging a hat-trick and Tristan Arate getting the other goal in that clash in April. But other than that, the season before, it was a 1-1 draw between the two sides and a 1-0 win for the Western Sydney Wanderers. And if you want to find Sydney Olympics' last win against the Western Sydney Wanderers, that came on the 17th of September 2024 in a 4-1 victory for Sydney Olympic. Oliver Pufflet bagging a brace that day, Roy O'Donovan converting from the spot, and it was Tang Kuo, the final goal scorer there. So a few names from yesteryear for Sydney Olympic and that star-studded team. It's a good header away by Morrison, but only as far as Nizam. Western Sydney the other way now. Harate out wide and a little bit too much for Abdul Rahman to chase. Ziggy Gordon trapped there and gives it to Seth Clark, who finds his way out of trouble. And a great opportunity to go the other way now for Olympic. Bugadia tackled from behind and a free kick for Olympic. So plenty of options in the box here. And just in the corner of the screen, Khan Nizam wide open to the back stick, and they go that way. But straight down the throat of the keeper. And pretty easy pickings for the Western Sydney defence as Abdul Rahman has had his pulse on everything Western Sydney have done going forward this game, and temporarily switching sides on the right wing now. Branson. Rada Vancevic. Luau, give, go, Arate. Bit of a tussle in the middle there to win the ball, and Ziggy Gordon clears it, finds Kakucha. But Rado Vancevic does well to stick a foot out and stop the attack for the time being. Good throw there from Kakucha. An even better ball there from Bugadia to find Nam. Khan Nizam. Hong's under pressure. Does well to get rid of it and almost set up an attack there, but a bit of ping-pong headering there from the Western Sydney Wanderers. Arate, and that's a good first-time ball from Sataut. Kurdo slipped on it a little bit, gave it up to Abdul Rahman. Lua's in the clear, but he's offside, but it's going to be a free kick for the Wanderers. Now, Philip Kurdo just a little bit rusty with that one. Slipped as he tried to clear it out to Ziggy Gordon on the right side. And misplaced it, put it straight on the chest of Abdul Rahman. Had no choice but to play it forward, and Luau was pretty obviously offside. But free kick at the edge of the box and a really good chance for the Western Sydney Wanderers to extend their lead here, or get their lead back, I should say. Luau. Are likely to take this one. 14 goals this season, second top goal scorer in this competition. Only trailing Marconi's Damien Sekenis. By just one goal. Luau goes direct, and no real problem there for Kurdo, seeing that one coming. We got a little bit too excited there. Kakucha. Looking for a second now, Sebastian Kakucha. Try to get it across the face. Rado Vancevic beats him to it though. Goes long with the cross and can't get the head of Khan Nizam, but he'll get the ball back. Courtesy of Zach Sorosic there. Now Olympic playing some really nice football here. Hamanakis, great outside the football into Callahan. The Trivella almost played off there. And a round of applause from the crowd here for that beautiful bit of skill from Sydney Olympics number 10. Zorosic thought about going long, but goes short to Bugadia, and back to Zorosic now. Good header away by Morrison. Not out of danger though, Western Sydney, and it's going to be a throw for the Wanderers. Claiming that it took a touch of Zach Zorosic on the way through, and good chance to reset and regather now for the hosts. Doesn't go the way of Western Sydney. It's going to be a throw now for Sydney Olympic. Dorosic going direct to Callahan. Does well to keep possession. Throw taken quickly by Zorosic. Kewen goes long and over the top, and Franson does well to shield off the oncoming run of Bailey Callahan. And Western Sydney with a chance to build something here. Katrib. Now Katrib again. He got an assist for the first goal. Looking to spark something here. Gets into the area. And a strong battle here with Zach Sorosic. Goes to ground. The referee says play on. Callahan given the foul in the end there. And the last time they took a free kick quickly, they scored. But Western Sydney have learnt their lesson. Push in the back there, advantage given. I should say the referee actually waved that one off, and luckily for Sydney Olympic, shouldn't cost them too much. Clark, and a first time ball there from Armanakas. How good was that? Just knew Kakucha was running onto it, obviously picked out in the end by Rado Vancevic, but nice bit of eyes up play. Abdul Rahman can't get past Ziggy Gordon, and in all fairness, he's had a good game, Abdul Rahman, but he's struggling a little bit to get past his senior defender there, Ziggy Gordon. Just showing his experience and how much he's got left to give. The former Wanderer himself, Gordon. Back. Gets a foot onto it, and possession one in the middle in the end. Katrib. Sits out, goes for it, and took a deflection, and Kurto almost beaten there. It was falling and had to take the ball with him on the weaker side. And a goal kick taken quickly there by Kurto, headed away by Franson, gives Sydney Olympic a good attacking chance here at 10 metres past the halfway line. Gordon hasn't got involved in the attack much yet, the right back. Probably leaving that more to Armanakas, who has tended to drift out right a little bit, and leaving Sebastian Kakucha into more of an inverted forward role as Kewen's pass goes astray, but he wins it back there, and that's good hustle from the Sydney Olympic centre-back. It's one of the things you get taught very early as a junior. You give the ball up, you work just as hard to get that back. Khan Nizam now. Nizam. Callahan, great save. The sun in his eyes as well. Armanakas try to play it back through, and it's fallen to Nizam, flicks it on, hits a couple of Sydney Olympic bodies, and Katrib gets rid of it. Another good sequence of attack from Sydney Olympic. Morrison with a good header, and Hong and Abdul Rahman collecting each other, and it was the Wanderers number 7 who comes out worse for wear there. Still on the ground now, like Abdul Rahman. So the closest thing we'll get to a hydration break here in the NPL Men's New South Wales competition as Abdul Rahman remains in the same position and looked to have copped a pretty hefty knee, but good opportunity for both sets of managers to regather, give their players a drink and run over some tactics. It's been a really, really good game and momentum constantly swinging. Just going back and forth, and both sides really finding their best success on the counter-attack. Abdul Rahman back to his feet. Bit ginger, and it doesn't look like they'll make a substitution. They probably will have to come off the field for a little bit, considering time spent with the physio on the pitch, as Philip Curto will get us back underway here. So good to see Abdul Rahman jogging that off and should be able to resume as he runs back onto the pitch here. Calls for a handball, waved off. Callahan, nice 1-2 there with Bulgaria, but it was Arate first to it. And Abdul Rahman back into the action now on the right side. Back. It's a beautiful one-touch bit of play there. Katrib, good ball in, headed away by Akuan. It's about a deeper throw-in you can get for the Wanderers in attack. Katrib gets past a couple, he's taken down, goes to ground. Referee says it's all ball and play on, but the Wanderers will get the ball back. Not too much complaints from the Wanderers side, however. The ball seemed to be going out, and he got past the backline pairing there of Joka Kuan and Zach Zorosic, two of the new signings. Arate looking to unleash Abdul Rahman. Back in the middle to back. Radovancevic. Edge of the box, a toot. His shot is deflected away and caught up in his own feet there was Zach Zorosic. And second corner of the game for Western Sydney. Something from the training ground here from the Wanderers. Arate, good ball, just beats essentially everyone, including the Sydney Olympic defence. And Morrison in the corner, battling with Clark. He wins that battle, Oscar Morrison, and a throw for the Wanderers. It's a long throw being lined up here. Two big bodies in Franson and Luau. Can get ahead onto this. Franson does. Lays it to the edge of the box. Radovancevic almost got to it. And breaking away now for Sydney Olympic is Bailey Callahan. Satout did well to track back and just halt the run for the time being. But Khan Nizam now. Good ball through to Armanakis. Goes for it. Just wide of the target. And Lucas Sinot dived at it, but not really threatening his goal there. Morrison tried to catch the Olympic defence off guard, but probably caught his own number 9, Awan Luau, off as well. And a goal kick for Sydney Olympic. It's 33 minutes gone here. And as we take a quick look to the other game happening at the same time, it is UNSW who have taken a 2-1 lead against Sydney FC. It was 1-1 for a good part of the first half there, but on the half-hour mark, UNSW taking back a 2-1 lead, which has big implications for the relegation battle that Sydney Olympic find themselves in, as 3 precious points right now for UNSW would see them jump 2 places into 11th and put them 7 points clear of 15th spot, as Katrib gets it in, but Kewen heads it away. Only as far as back. Satout and Katrib now. Frenson assessing his options and cuts it brilliantly out wide to Abdul Rahman. Abdul Rahman goes direct, and a chance for the Wanderers. Just wide for Tristan Arate. And it was an air swing from Josh Hong that he's really not happy about at himself there, really. That almost gifted Wanderers their lead back. Ricky Franson doing battle there with Arman Nakas, and it's going to be a free kick for the Wanderers. So it was Bugadia there in the middle. Franson won the first header from the goal kick and worked really hard to try and spark an attack there for the Wanderers. Just colliding with the number 21 from Sydney Olympic there, Adam Bugadia. He's a bit ginger from that as the Olympic captain Josh Hong pleads his case. Thank you. Radovan Savic. Franson finds contributing a bit of space out on the right, and a brilliant first touch. Across the face of goal there. And back in by Katrib. Gordon headers it away. The clearance isn't as good as they'd like. Satout. Good ball in the middle. Abdul Rahman falling to the edge for back. And a brilliant save there by Kurto. And Sydney Olympic under a real bit of pressure here the last couple of minutes. Credit to Emil Katrib. He's had a sensational first half, linking up with Satout on the right side of the pitch here. Morrison called for Katrib to go close, but just resetting through Franson. Radovan Savic. Nice ball to open up the space. Morrison, even better ball to pick out Satout. Thought about going long to Luau, but plays it short to Katrib, who try to return that to sender. And a nice bit of shielding there from Akewin at the back to get that one out for a goal kick. So Han Luau has been kept relatively quiet in this game, which is a bit of a surprise given his incredible goal scoring record this season. In 16 games, he's found the back of the net 13 times and is in the top 5 according to SofaScore's player ratings, on average player rating with a 7.5, and only trailed by a handful of players, including his teammate, keeper Tristan Vidakovic. Second in the Golden Boot, as I mentioned earlier, behind Marconi's Damien Sekenis, but he does lead all players with most goal contributions, that being goals and assists, with 13 goals and 3 assists. And of course, he's trailed by that man, Damien Sekenis, who is there just purely on goals scored with 14. Sydney Olympic there, streak of no clean sheets in this fixture will extend, and then no clean sheets in general. The last time they got a clean sheet against the Western Sydney Wanderers, you have to go back to the COVID-shortened season in 2020. They had a 1-0 win over the Wanderers. Jason Madonis, the lone goal scorer that day. So Wanderers now 5 games without keeping their opponents out, and that last one was against their rivals Sydney FC in that 6-0 derby thrashing. It is very interesting in any sort of derby. They always say form goes out the window, but 6-0, not many could have expected that. That was the last time they kept a clean sheet. Free kick here for Sydney Olympic. In a pretty promising area. They've had some good chances so far. Whipping the ball in from that right side. Armanakas and Kakucha linking up there, and they go quickly. Try to pick out Bugadia making the run on the right side, but luckily for them it won't come back to bite them as they retain possession. Kurto's had lots of involvement so far in his maiden game in this competition. Bit of pull on the shirt there of Seth Clark by Tristan Arate. Play on for the time being. Kakucha. Gordon. Josh Hong cleared it, but brilliantly picked out Zach Zorosic in acres of space on the left wing. And attempted to go himself, but the 2 men Wanderer defending just a little bit too much contact with the hands as they look to go again early. It's got to be something that they've been working on, Sydney Olympic, because they've looked to go on early from just about every free kick, and obviously they scored from a free kick taken earlier, 15th minute of this game. Now Armanakis. It's only a 1-man wall here. If he decides to go from it, it's within shooting distance. Armanakis, deep curling cross. Akewin heads it backwards, but he's offside. And that could have been a good chance for Sydney Olympic. Katrib drew out Zorosic and just needed a short pass to Lachlan Satout, his right winger. Katrib heads it back in, gives Wanderers possession back. Taken out there, Katrib. You could hear the crunch of boot on shin pads. It's just such a distinct noise. And from this close. So the game just quieting down a little bit. Both sides just a bit more methodical with the ball at their feet. And here's a chance. Stout just past one too many of his attacking options. And cleared by Zach Sorosic, who had a few words for Stout there after clearing that one. Frenson. Back across to Cameron. Gordon does well to flick it over to himself and heading it through here. Bugadia, great ball. Zorosic now. Back in the middle, Khan Nizam hits the bar. Goes again, Nizam. Just couldn't get underneath it. And Sydney Olympic within millimetres of taking the lead a minute before half-time here. What a shot that was from Nizam. Lucas Sinop pushing his side up. He's going to go long here, you'd suspect. Doesn't go to plan for the Wanderers keeper. Bugadia. Again, Armanakas in a lot of space in the middle of the park. Kakucha plays it back to Armanakas, and Franson got the vital touch on it. Cleared in the end by Cameron. Headed back into a dangerous area by Zorotic. Clark. It's rinse and repeat here for Sydney Olympic, and they're finding lots of success. Zorosic goes in the middle, headed away by Morrison, and Abdul Rahman flicks it on. Bringing it down, Luau. And now with a bit of space and chance to go forward, Alad Abdul Rahman. Franson's pass intercepted by Clark. It's taken out, played on, and just a collision between Callahan and Clark halted that attack, but it's going to be a free kick as we enter injury time here of the first half. It's been a thrilling opening 45 minutes here. Is anyone's for the taking in the final 45 minutes. Armanakas goes to the back stick. Akiwan gets it across the face. No one home for Sydney Olympic. He cleared away by Abdul Rahman. As Stout, great ball to pick out Luau. And a chance for a final attack of the half for the Wanderers. Zorosic has to get to it first, otherwise Arate was through on goal, and he does well there. Zach Zorosic. Gordon. Counting down the seconds here. And both sides had their chance for a goal before the break. And it might not be over yet for Sydney Olympic. There's a corner here. And even Sydney Olympic weren't really aware of it. A few screams of corner from the side. Armanakas, the set-piece specialist today so far. 10 men in the box for Wanderers. They would not want to concede seconds before the break here. Ziggy Gordon pleading his case to the referee as Howard Luau has him wrapped up. Franson, strong header away, only as far as Clark. Back out to Armanakis, first time cross. Strong fist away by Synod as he races back to his goal, and the counter-attack for Western Sydney is cut short by the referee's whistle. A thrilling opening 45 minutes, and we'll be back here for the second half in just about 15 minutes.
Here's got to be careful as he takes on Wells. Now Negro looking for the run of Fowler. Fresh legs off the bench here. Fowler, and he scores! End-to-end in the blink of an eye, and Sydney FC take the lead.
Siren takes the referee's count down to 4. Abdul Rahman Awan Lawal has opened the scoring here. Split wall now. It's going to go into the middle. Manly have equalised. Essie Perez. Crossing it into the middle. Tapped home by Luke Neuenhoff. And Manly have the lead. Griffiths goes to the Roma line. Down to the box, Griffiths puts it home! And Samuel Griffiths. Through ball for Awan Lawal. Has to take it away from the box. Cross into Pavlovic. Cross. Brought down. Shot. Goal for Manly. For the Western Sydney Wanderers, sorry. As Lachlan Satoot. Pavlovic. Good pass. Awan Lawal! Has found an equaliser for the Wanderers.
They're backing off here at the University of New South Wales, and now Perez makes the run into space beautifully. Perez, Wood is there with him. Perez is going to get there first. Tries in the cross now. Chance for a goal! Goal! Richard Shawecki with the goal. To choose from. Drives it in low. Flicks in. Out in there! A terrific header at the near post. A great cross coming in from here. He's going to switch it for Jordi Perez. Perez shouting for the shot. Goal! Goal to Jordi Perez! Not quite on the ball in the last few weeks now. Tarek Maya from halfway.
Goal! By the millimetre. Flicking it around Mako. Goes to the back stick. Great touch and an even better finish. And there's the opener for St. George City. Buries it. Sends Jack Kenny the wrong way, and that is a brilliantly taken penalty. Slipped, but managed to get a foot away to it. And it's in! All the way from the sideline. Santarosa goes direct, and it's dribbled in! There's two men that are claiming it, but regardless, it's a third goal for SD Raiders.
Kobayashi. Fizzed in, chance! And it's gone over the line. It's Shoki Yoshida who got the last touch. Trying to find Yoshida, the running behind, sliding through, and it's gone in the back of the net.
Bugaria takes it at the near post. Armanakis. He finds the shot! That is brilliant! Clear the defensive third though. Casella twists it back in. Aquien with a header again. And now through traffic. The equaliser comes for St George. And it's Mark Roberts. Here comes the free kick. Armanakis whips it into the box. And the header is in! Bailey Callahan comes up.
He's never one to lead the protest himself. He generally lets his football do the talking, and he's done beautifully to slide past Tanaka. The ball's good, and Armson's opened the scoring. Yes, stands and clears. Falls to Armson. Daniel. That's a good ball. Sekenis must finish and does now. Took a couple of bites.
Will deliver their in-swinger once more. Great area. Griffiths gets there. And Griffiths buries it into the bottom corner. There comes in. Rockdale get the advantage though as Moody Najjar drives into the box. Najjar! Moody Najjar puts it away, and Rockdale double their lead at Lambert Park.
Welcome back to Wanderers Football Park for the second half of action between the Western Sydney Wanderers and Sydney Olympic. 1-1 after the first 45 minutes. And back underway here for the final half. And if the first half is anything to go by, we should be in for a thrilling finish. Two goals in quick succession, if you want to go back and watch it, if you missed the first half. Goal in the 10th minute from Ala Abdul Rahman for the Western Sydney Wanderers, and it was quickly cancelled out by a brilliant solo finish from Sebastian Kukucha for Sydney Olympic. And Western Sydney, they started the first half in the opening couple of minutes. The more likely had the first couple of chances, and repeating a bit more of that here as the second half gets underway. And no real changes to report on, it looks like, from either side. Both to program 1 through 11 as Abdul Rahman, good cross in and first kind of strike for the Wanderers, but it's pretty easily cleared by Joka Kyon. Now back. A good ball through there from Cameron. Finds Abdul Rahman. Cuts it onto his left and tries to go across the face of goal. Josh Hong with a strong foot to deny him there. And that will roll out for a corner for the Western Sydney Wanderers. So Henderson back on corner duties here. First one for the second half. Goes direct, and Philip Curto with a very strong fist away. Straight back in from back. Hong first to it. His header falls to Luau. Goes for the roof of the net and skies it well clear of the target in the end. A1 Luau. So it looks like Wanderers pretty quickly in this second half will look to make a couple of changes, and it's been incredibly tough to split them, both the sides here. Sydney Olympic obviously very revamped and motivated to fight their way off bottom place in this competition. Obviously the win last week against St. George FC helped them a very but a win here would see them just 1 point off Blacktown, level on points with Blacktown and considerably behind on goal difference. That is been the Achilles heel for Sydney Olympic so far this season, although their form's starting to come together and they've got some really strong faces after splurging in the transfer window. But pretty badly handicapped by a couple of really disappointing results, as a free kick here for Western Sydney, and it looks like Tristan Arate, who's gone down in quite a bit of pain. It's the referee points for the physio to give him some medical attention. So in the other game happening as well, NSW still 2-1 up over Sydney FC. So that game, 49th minute. And obviously Manly United playing host to SD Raiders at 5 o'clock and 5:30. The pick of the lot for this round, it is Apia Leichhardt, second place, taking on 6th place Sutherland Sharks at 5:30 at Seymour. Sure, catch Teo Pellizzeri on the call for that one. And tomorrow, stacked 3 o'clock Super Sunday. Blacktown City playing host to Sydney United. Marconi facing St. George FC. Rockdale will host the NWS Spirit, and the Wollongong Wolves and St. George City doing battle. And that'll round out round 22 of the NPL Men's New South Wales competition, as backs cross put in a bit of danger here as Kurdo got down to it. It looked like it was Bugadia who got in front of his keeper, and he probably had it covered, Kurdo, but good to know that the Olympic midfielder had his back there. Now Sinot under a bit of pressure and had to clear it as far as he could. Won back momentarily by Sydney Olympic, as foul given away there by Satout. Khan Nazam. Good foot there to poke that one away from him, from the right back. Emil Katrib had a really strong first half in attack and defence. Obviously set up the first goal for Abdul Rahman. A beautiful cross, and had a couple more chances that weren't converted on by his teammates, but nothing to fault what he's done so far, as the Wanderers get the ball back from the throw. Torosic goes long and direct to Callahan. Clark. Oh, shimmy and go. That's a great burst into a bit of space now. Manakis. Courtesy of that runner, Seth Clark. Nizam, one-on-one with Katrib. Into the box, Bugadia. Good cross, but even better header away from Franson to stop the danger. And back has no choice there but to get rid of it in the air. Ziggy Gordon beats Tristan Arate to it, and ball back the way of Sydney Olympic. Seth Clark goes to ground and fouled there by Tristan Arate, who's probably got to be a bit careful. He's given away a couple fouls here in quick succession. And the referee just having a quick word to him. And maybe the referee heard me there, because he's just repeated what I said there. Getting pretty close to the action, saying, listen, mate, it's 3 fouls in quick succession. Calm it down, otherwise I'm going to have to dig into my book and issue out a yellow card. Khan Nazam tried to offload that one to Bugadia, and it was deflected away, but went to his intended target in the end, as Ziggy Gordon joins the attack. His pass across the middle picked out by Arate, and Gordon wins the ball back from Abdul Rahman. Ziggy Gordon. Amanakis. He's been good today so far, and a nice flick on back heel from Bugadia. Just doesn't eventuate, and now numbers forward for Western Sydney, and that is a sensational stop by Khan Nazam, working on both sides of the ball, stopping a potential 3-on-2 counter-attack for the Wanderers. Clark goes direct, and pretty easy pickings for Lucas Sinot. This game really opening up as Abdul Rahman now catching this left side defence a bit off guard, as Ziggy Gordon works his way to get back to his fullback position. There's Kakucha and Bugadia working in tandem there to cover. It's Katrib, great ball on the first time cross. Gordon does well to get rid of it. Callahan, beautiful flick on, heavy touch by Kakucha. And cleared with the 1-2 touch there from Oscar Morrison and Ricky Franson, as the first substitution of the afternoon. And it's going to be Emil Katrib coming off, and Tristan Arate as well. So Arate is replaced by Giorgio Hasarati. He's occupying that 10 role almost as a false 9 next to Luau. Give him a bit more support up top, the big man. So good shift from Katrib. He was everywhere up and down that left flank in the first half and more so in the right here in the second. Harmonakis has Kakucha, but cuts inside, and good ball to pick out Nazam, and his touch is just a little bit too heavy, and thought it was a penalty for a second there, but a good bit of defensive work from Jesse Cameron to shield him off, and it's a foul for the Western Sydney Wanderers in similar to a goal kick position. Radovancevic had to stick his foot out to get past the oncoming Seth Clark. Armanakis goes for it. Franson puts his body in front of it. Kakucha gets past Cameron, gets it in the middle. Franson heads it away. Abdul Rahman picked out the substitute there, Giorgio Hassarati, for his first touch of the ball, and it was just a little bit hard to contain on the bounce there. And ball back with Sydney Olympic. Very long throw there, picks out Hassarati and flicks it on to Luau. Just got one too many Olympic men around him to make something work, and has to go back through the substitute, Hassarati. Luau goes down, referee waves it off. Armanakis, what a turn. The Maradona spin. Everyone thought he would have gone the first time there, but held it up brilliantly, and a good chance for Olympic if Kakucha can get into some good space here. Great flick to Clark. Cuts in on the left now, Seth Clark. Back in, and a good stop by Synod, and it's out for a corner for Sydney Olympic. So everyone back for Western Sydney again. And that includes Luau. Close to the tallest man in the team. It's got a great aerial presence. And Ziggy Gordon and Luau getting caught up again. That happened in the first half, but it was the other way around. It was on the other side of the pitch. Same result though. Referee calling him up this time though. Goes direct, and a strong header away there by Cameron. Flicked back out to Armanakis. Dink pass into Kakucha. Try to curl it into the top corner and just got underneath it a little bit too much. Goal kick for Western Sydney. Morrison back to Sanot. Hasn't had much involvement in playing it out from the back. The Wanderers goalkeeper is Cameron. So Morrison gets caught up there. Trying to clear it, and could only go as far as Bailey Callahan. As Hassarati now one-on-one with Akewen, and just one touch too many, and trickles out off the number 28 for the Wanderers. Long throw by Zoricic. Armanakis. Great flick on to send Seth Clark through. Kakucha onto his left and try to cut it in at the front stick. Anderson back prevents that from happening. Armanakis, good ball to pick out Nazam, and just got a little bit too complacent with it. He had the substitute Bradley Marcel on his back. In the other way, sits out. Strong challenge from Zoricic. And a pretty clear foul in the end there. So Sydney Olympic looking to make a substitute here. Substitution, I should say. But the Wanderers will beat them to it. So it's going to be Anderson back, coming off. He's replaced by number 23, Oscar Moore. Goes short. Across in the middle at the back stick. It just skidded past Abdul Rahman. And he's disappointed at least, you could say there. Now that one didn't come to him. It was Rado Vencevic who had the smarts to pick out his man on the right. And the cross just a little bit too hard. Armanakis now. He's been central to everything they've been doing in the middle of the park. He's taken down, but referee says play on. Trying to offload. Substitute's a substitute there. More trying to play Hazarati through, but Philip Curto beats him to it. No real pressure there for the Olympic keeper. It's Kakucha. Temporarily seen Jesse Cameron on the ground. Wins the ball back from his opposing number. Armanakis knocks it forward for himself. Now to Kazan. Beats one, goes himself, and a strong save by Sinot at the front stick. Strong arm. And a good bit of work there by Marcel to keep that in and avoid his side conceding a corner. Abdul Rahman calls for it, and Cameron apologises, didn't see it, and wanted to play back and safe to Ricky Franson. Abdul Rahman, good touch to bring that down. Gordon, really strong physical approach there from Ziggy Gordon to try and get Abdul Rahman off the ball, which he did succeed, and the ball through to Lawal just wasn't there in the end. Gordon goes across, try to play his arm through, but not there in the end, and Marcel's first to it. It's the sun, the setting sun here at Wanderers Football Park, playing a massive part here, just beaming down in the Olympic defence's face, and you can see any player that gets it has to put their arm out in front of their eyes to stop and actually see what's going on in front of them. Clark. Armanakis loses possession, but the touch from Hazarati was a little bit heavy and won't matter in the end though. Throw in for Western Sydney and a substitution coming up here for Sydney Olympic. And it looks like it's going to be Zach Zoricic to be replaced. Luau. Great ball in the middle to unload something here. That's a great shot and good save by Curto, but not enough, and it falls into the back of the net. And it's Lachlan Sataut who puts Western Sydney back in the lead for the first time since the 10th minute. Rado Vencevic will get the assist there, but a brilliant, powerful finish from Lachlan Sataut puts the Wanderers back ahead by a goal. Western Sydney Wanderers 2, Sydney Olympic 1. So 25 minutes left for Sydney Olympic to try and conjure something up and walk away from this game with a result. But at the moment, it's going to be Western Sydney making another push towards finals. Sinnots. Looking to go for the long throw from deep within their own half. Unsuccessful. Callahan. Nizam, good flick to send him through the Olympic striker, and Morrison does well to stop his run. Radovancevic and try to play through Hazarati. Cleared away in the end. Not for long though. No foul played. And an advantage here. Looked like it was going to be an advantage for Sydney Olympic, but probably a 1-for-1 there. You could have argued a foul given both ways and letting the game flow. Possession coughed up, and Seth Clark engaging the attacking spark as Ricky Franson, who's been solid as a rock really all game for the Wanderers. The goal scorer sits out. Cameron has lots of options on the right if they can spread it there, and Franson picks it out. Marcel. Morrison back to Marcel. Return that one to sender. Franson. Now Cameron. Try to open up the middle there, but a pretty high press from Sydney Olympic. Lots of blue jerseys around the Wanderers' defence at the moment. Abdul Rahman. Moore. Try to pick out Satout, and a pretty strong clearance there. The substitute, Anton Isako. So you'd think another couple of substitutions will probably be coming on soon for Sydney Olympic, but it is really tough to break up that front four, if you will. They've all played exceptional. But as football goes, it's always great to have some fresh legs out there. That's proven by the Wanderers here. Satout's through. And a great bit of defensive work there. Jock Kewen. Pausing the momentum on that. Luau turns and goes, and just past the back stick. A1 Luau, 14th goal of the season, just goes begging. Looks like Daniel Wong could be one of the next substitutes up for Sydney Olympic for Michael Melito's side. Kodo goes short and goes as far as Clark. Heads it on Armanakis, Kakucha. Getting past a couple of Wanderers defenders and plays it back to his number 10. Kakucha goes for it. Just over the target. Played short from Synod, and Oscar Morrison given licence to go forward by the Sydney Olympic midfield. The skipper leading from the back. A good ball forward, headed back by Isako, only as far as Sitout. Franson picks out Marzal on the right side, and Isako does well to get the ball back for Olympic. Looking to kickstart something here with quite a few Wanderers committed forward. Kakucha. Great ball to Callahan. He beats Franson to it. Just needs to get past the big centre back, and his shot is deflected into the path of goal and eventually cleared away. Luau. His touch is a bit heavy, and Josh Hong did well to dispossess him. So we should have a complete block out of the sun in a couple of minutes here, and that could be a massive advantage for the Sydney Olympic defence as Gordon, his back pass straight to Luau. His touch is a little bit heavy, and Josh Hong saves the day for Olympic. Right back on the attack though, Western Sydney. Happy to reset and dictate the flow of this possession. Well, this passage of play. Franson. No rush to get rid of this. And taking his time as well. Radovancevic. Cameron switches wings, sits out. Morrison gets past Armanakis and opens up something here. Sitout. He's got space to go on goal if he wants. Cuts it back into Abdul Rahman. And a disappointing effort in the end there from the opening goal scorer of this game. So Sydney Olympic will make a substitution here. And already coming off the field is Sebastian Kakucha. Good shift from Kakucha on the right side. Obviously that sensational solo goal there, and got to give credit there as well to Armanakis. Great ball to play him through, but a good finish on the right side as Peter Grossos is the man to replace him. So Western Sydney can still use 2 more substitutes, and Olympic 3 more to go. Sitout does well to intercept that goal kick, and under a bit of pressure there, Akuan. Hazarati almost had the ball back and very nearly got it back there. Gets past the centre back, and that's a goal kick in the end. He's not happy about that, was calling for a foul. Senois urging his team to get back and defend. Not long left here. And plenty of time for Wanderers to seal it and potentially get an equaliser from the visitors in Sydney Olympic. There's a Kewen. Cleared it. Trying to pick out Nizam. Marjal's header. Wins possession back. Only temporary though. A Kewen switch. Headed away by Cameron and Abdul Rahman. Gordon winning the ball back there. And just stuck between Grossos and Armanakis, that ball there from Bugaria. And good interception by Jesse Cameron, who's really come alive in this second half here. It's still 2-1 as well. Village Green between UNSW and Sydney FC as Sitout now. He's got past his man and a foot in the way by Hong. Not cleared away fully, and A good save in the end there. But a corner for Western Sydney, and it was Hazarati on the follow-up. And you've seen that a few times from Sydney Olympic. Philip Curto probably in the position to get down to it, but his defenders not giving them the chance to even get the shot off, which is credit to them. So Oscar Moore steps up to this one after the potential injury was cleared there. A few cramps coming up. And Lachlan Satout looks to have his afternoon over. Pulling up with what looks to be a hamstring issue there. I believe he went down earlier, and just one touch too many for the goal scorer. Moore's cross. Franson heads it towards goal and just took a touch on the way through and slowed it right down. Possession one back here, and Armanakis with a chance. He's got numbers on the left. Just needs to get past Radovancevic. Callahan. Armanakis. Great ball to pick out Grossos. Turns and shoots. Peter Grossos. What a save by Senot. That is a potential game winner from the Wanderers keeper. And the ball played quickly now from the corner. Bulgaria goes deep. Gordon heads it down to Clark. Clark trying to pick out Callahan at the back stick, and Franson and Morrison denying him of that. Ball back in from Isako. Forced to Bulgaria. And again deflected away, and Sydney Olympic really applying the pressure. Armanakis. Ziggy Gordon. Back to the number 10. Great ball, and then almost gets it through, but it's offside. And there's a good turn and go there by Bulgaria. Don't traditionally see him in those positions, but with the game on the line, everyone forward for Sydney Olympic. And almost flicking it past Lucas Senot in goals for Western Sydney. So the sun almost completely set here, and the field is all in shade for the final stanza of this one as the floodlights come on. I can finally take my sunglasses off. Armanakis goes to Grossos on his right. Almost scored earlier, Peter Grossos. Thought about it. Stopped by Radovancevic, and now Gordon on the overlap. Clark. Grossos. First time cross from Gordon. And a strong header away there by Radovancevic. And another corner for Sydney Olympic.
Come on, Olympic!
Armanakis' cross. And it almost looked like it come off a hand there, but it was the Olympic player, Adam Bulgaria. Danger cleared for the time being. Clark. So Ewan Gasowski is the man to replace the tout on the right wing for the Wanderers. The throw for Olympic here. Isako has his pockets picked there, and a foul given up pretty cheaply by Olympic, but they had to do it to stop the counter-attack with the game hanging in the balance here. Just under 10 minutes to go. Sydney Olympic desperately need a win here to put Blacktown under a bit of pressure tomorrow as they play host to Sydney United at the Landon Stadium. McEwen. Luau. And a crucial slip at the final moment there from Hazarati gives McEwen a great chance to win the ball back, and he does that. Now Grossos. Grossos goes for it again. Opened up the angle, but curled it right into the path of Sinot. And he'll breathe a deep sigh of relief there. A long ball, an early ball of that from Ewan Gazowski trying to play through Luau. It's picked out by Anton Isako. And Western Sydney will take their time getting to this throw. McEwen. His clearance only as far as Gazowski. And he gets past Isako, cuts back in, trying to open up the angle for a cross. And he gets past both men there, plays it in the middle, falls to Abdul Rahman, it's more. Calls for a handball waved off. It's not over yet for the Wanderers. Armanakis, Bugaria out wide, Peter Grossos. Has Gordon on the overlap. Good touch to offload there for Bugaria. Great stop by Martial. Otherwise, Khan Nazam was through and unmarked on the right wing. Over the top board, trying to pick out Luau and Philip Curto. Strong foot away. The Sydney Olympic, it's a bit of a mixed run home for them. Next week, they'll play Wollongong Wolves at Belmore. And then followed by a battle of the beaches of such, with a trip to Cromer Park to play Manly just before they go to Seymour Shore to play the Sutherland Sharks. And then Apia, UNSW, Sydney United, Marconi Stallions and Sydney FC is their run home. And if you remember, in 2024, Belmore played host to Sydney FC versus Sydney Olympic, and Sydney FC were the ones in a relegation battle that time, and it was a goal in the end there by Jaden Kucharski that saved Sydney FC from going into the relegation playoff that year. Central Coast that ended up going into it in the end there, although they did win that. But it looks like that might be the same come round 30 this year, but the only difference is it's going to be Sydney Olympic who might be fighting for their lives. Meanwhile, for the Wanderers, they'll play Marconi next week at 3 o'clock, and they'll host the Wanderers here in 2 weeks' time. So they'll host Apia Leichhardt as Luau almost played it through to Gazowski. Kewen got a foot to it, but he was offside, and taken quickly again here. Seth Clark. Oscar Moore beat him to it. Bit of space in the middle there for Armanakis, and Oscar Moore's gone down in quite a bit of pain. He's clutching the knee. And a very, very late slide there by Giorgio Hazarati as Oscar Moore remains down. Oscar Moore seems okay. Bit ginger to get up, but he's able to jog it off. So the referee drops the ball back into play to Curto. Armanakis It's almost filling in it right back there as Anton Isako verges forward. Bulgaria. His chip over the top is picked out by Oscar Morrison. McEwen tried to stop it and almost put Luau through with the outstretched foot, but he is offside. He's been caught offside the last couple of times there. The Wanderers number 9. As we have life on the scoreboard. 5 minutes to go. And you'd assume a couple of minutes at minimum of injury time with a few injuries to the Wanderers. Seth Clark turning Hazarati inside out. As Oscar Moore does well to get rid of possession of Armanakis. Turns and goes. He can't bring him down. Bulgaria. Franson head away. The clearance almost forced to Grossos. Jesse Cameron on clean-up duty. Seth Clark was almost through on. He had a perfect chance to unleash a shot if he wanted there, and Oscar Moore, probably not intentional, just a tiny bit late, but he goes in the book. The first card of the game goes to the Wanderers. And Armanakis, he's had a few chances from set pieces today, whether that be from corners or free kicks. So let's see what he can conjure up here. Only one man in the war. And about 7 defenders there for the Wanderers. It's almost directed in. Just didn't get enough power on it. Bailey Callahan and Armanakis with his head in his hands there. Disappointed that no one could get the final touch. It was a very good cross. McEwen. Bulgaria. And just took that a little bit too late there, Anton Isako, coughing up possession in a really key area. And he's really disappointed in himself there. Franson. Good ball from Abdurrahman. Now Luau has his pockets picked by Bulgaria. And McEwen now a bit of time to think about his next pass. Back to Curto. He's had an eventful debut, Philip Curto. Couldn't get his foot to it there, Khan Nizam. And ball back the way of the Wanderers through Martial. Oh wow, could be through if Hong doesn't get to it, but the captain first to it. Isako wins it back, and Seth Clark with room to go forward now. Armanakis turns, cuts back in on Radan Vadsevic. Grozos gets it between two Wanderers. Gordon in the middle now. Franson stops it. Headed back in by Gordon and cleared away in the end there by Rado Vancevic. Grozos had their own Bulgaria through the gap, but plays it safe to Clark, his closest man and closest option. Hong tries to go direct, and Moore picks out that pass. Isako, strong challenge to beat Luau to it. And how crucial could that be? As the referee's board looks to have indicated 6 minutes of additional time. Gordon. Seth Clark sees an opening. Back in the middle, and the referee says play on. Clark went to ground. It was Cameron on the challenge. The referee deems it legal. Bugadia's touch is a little bit wayward, but it's through. Callahan! What a save by Senot again. And Franson goes down. Looks like he might have copped one to the groin. He's going to have to play on, though. Get back in position. Armanakis almost loses possession. Good defense by Abdul Rahman. Good ball in. Callahan's header. It's Bugadia. And it's another incredible save by Senot. Single-handedly has kept out Sydney Olympic on back-to-back occasions. What a performance from the Western Sydney Wanderers shot stopper. Time is running out for Sydney Olympic, and it just doesn't seem to be their day, with Lucas Senot denying them everything. It's still plenty of time to go, though. Bugadia. Armanakis almost picks out Khan Nazam, and a crucial interception at the final stage there from Bradley Martial. Josh Hong. Seth Clark picks out Callahan and tried to go the short option and straight through to Senot. He would be close to picking up man of the match honours. Not the best of goal kicks from Senot. Only went as far as Callahan, who was the last man up for Sydney Olympic, as Ziggy Gordon did well to keep that one in and keep the attack alive, as referee thought about blowing for it. Goes the advantage route, and Jesse Cameron beats his fellow number 5, Ziggy Gordon, to it. Throw taken quickly, though. Seth Clark grounds it. Back to Gordon, who's wide open. Good cross by Gordon. Bugadia, wide open header. And just couldn't get much of it. And a simple save in the end for Senot. And a free kick for Olympic. Still time for them to conjure up, and it probably wouldn't even be a final attack if they went for it here. Still a bit more time to go. Just about halfway through the allocated 6 minutes of injury time. Seth Clark. Hong. Good flick from Bugadia, just no one home. And Abdul Rahman gets rid of it and almost sends through his man on the right there. Ewan Gosowski. Ewan. It's a strong ball, just not enough curl on it. Picked out by Jesse Cameron. And he's still up the centre back. He wants to work hard to get the ball back here. So the Wanderers will happily play it around the back, trying to kill as many precious seconds as possible. Good touch by Gosowski. Hazarati had to work really hard to try and get past Hong, and the captain prevents what would have been a one-on-one for Hazarati. Armanakis gives it to Nazam, and Radovan Sevic on defensive duties there, and given license to go forward. Awan Luau wins it in a crucial area, but a final last-ditch touch from McEwen, again stopping the Wanderers' attack. Armanakis, advantage played. It's a foul in back play just before the halfway line. Cameron's header only as far as Gordon. Does well to guide it to the open Bugadia in the middle of the park. Goes for it, Adam Bugadia. And could that be it for Sydney Olympics' hope at dragging a result out of this game? 60 seconds to go. And the referee giving a final warning to Lucas Sinot to place the ball on the 6-yard box and giving him a bit of a hurry up as well. Bugadia working overtime to keep possession there. Callahan tries to flick it on to Armanakis. Morrison with the extended foot to win that one. And Luau's through. A1 Luau just got Seth Clark to beat. Goes to ground, but it's a fair challenge, says the referee, and play on. And they need to get going quickly here, Sydney Olympic. And that'll do it. Western Sydney hold on. A valiant 2-1 win over a determined Sydney Olympic side who slumped to another defeat. And it's a disappointing one for them. You got to say, if it wasn't for Lucas Sinot in goals with a potential man of the match performance, it very well could have been both sides sharing the points. But Western Sydney win at home, and a good win at that, their first win in 4. Thank you so much for joining us on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. You can look forward to SD Raiders vs Manly United coming up, and Apia Leichhardt and Sutherland Sharks from Seymour Shaw to round out our Saturday action, and then 4 games tomorrow, all kicking off at 3 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.